Hello everybody, Geraldine Rose here with this week's Color Throwdown challenge. The colors this week are purple, orange, and yellow. Perfect for the first Halloween card of this year. Yahoo! Oh my goodness, looks like someone figured out how to dig around in YouTube audio library a little bit more. Anyway, from the base of this, I'm using the Spellbinders, Pumpkins, and Ghost, the Better Press plate. I only wanted the one portion out of it, the black cat, and I grabbed the purple tones out of my rainbow glimmer foil to use with that. That was real time running it through really slowly through the big shot. Here we are. I'm cutting this out. You can see later that I do change this. I thought it would look good with the angled ends on both sides. Ultimately, it ended up taking a little bit too much of the card up. It's how the process works, right? You win some, you lose some. You start out with an idea, and when you actually put it down on your card, it doesn't always work out. To hide some of the other foil around the edges, I went in with some of the craft tacky glue and stuck some more down there. As I'm using one of the SimonSaysStamp pre-made black card bases, I'm going to grab out a scrap of white paper here to stamp my sentiment on for the inside of the card so that it stands out, and I'll be using some pattern paper too that I found that coincidentally just happened to match the colors purple, orange, and yellow. Here's the background stamp from SimonSaysStamp. That's the spider web, perfectly apt for Halloween. I'm embossing this with some clear powder on the front paddle. You can tell I'm having a little difficulty there. I got stung by a bee and my finger is pretty swollen. Pretty silly too, considering it's the middle finger. It's like, okay, just try and hide it as much as you can. There we are, of course, tapping on some of the clear embossing paste. You can see there are moments where I'm really struggling because you don't actually realize how much you use all of your fingers when you're doing this. It's like, okay, just add a little time on for getting this card done and make it as simple as possible because you're not up to anything great and extraordinary today. Here's your crafting gateway drug, embossing powder melting on black. Here I'm cropping down that pattern paper so that it's got an 1/8 of an inch border all the way around for the inside of the card. Die cutting out that Halloween sentiment for the inside of the card as well too. Just thought it would kind of tie in with the ovals that were in with the pattern paper. I know some people have trouble with the oval nesting dies. I think though that they're kind of one of those forgotten ones that we just don't use enough of. Next I'm jumping back to my front panel and I'm using the Close to My Heart multi-circle windows to cut out 12 holes in that. Got the idea from Tim Holtz's live this last weekend from a card that Sharon had done, and inset ghosts into it, and I thought, oh, I could inset cat into it. So this is the Sizzix mischievous die cuts. I cut all those kitties out. They've actually got them all numbered, which is really nice that they've got like, oh, here's the number 8 cat, here's the number 8 head, and so that's what I've done is I've placed them all next to each other, and here I'm pulling them apart and I'm going to set the heads in place. You can see I had glued them in, and now it's just pulling all the kitties out with their curly tails and everything. Unfortunately, most of those aren't going to show because with the heads I was really focusing on. And I'd also wanted to kind of go in and do little eyes and stuff on them. Just realized it wasn't realistic with what's going on with my hands right now, and the fact that you've already got a colored pattern paper in it as well too. Just maybe for once try and keep it a little simple. Here I'm tucking all those cats in respective windows to look out of, gluing them down as you can see here, and then I do go in and cut off the parts that I didn't want from those kitties. This is where I forgot that I wanted to use the Distress Spritz spray all over the front. So I put all those circles back over top of the kitty heads, and I used a little piece of paper towel to hide their tails and their little paws sticking out, and I spritzed it with the Wilted Violet and the fossilized amber and the spiced marmalade, and then did the same with the sentiment from the inside. The oval masked off the inner portion of that, so I would just get a little bit around the outside edges of the spritz spray. I think I've used those sprays on every card I've done since I got my bundle in. If you guys haven't got them yet, you should, because they're really good. Reveal there. And this is what I talked about earlier. I wasn't happy with how much space the black cat foiled portion took up across the front, so I fussy cut across the top Here I'm starting to cut out chunks of the pattern paper and yellow paper and orange paper to fit behind those windows on the front panel. So that's how I incorporated the majority of the colors for this color throwdown challenge, because you can see there's the purple, yellow, orange, and then the pattern paper, which has all three in. And piecing them in. What was that TV show with the X's and O's? Tic-tac-toe, Hollywood Squares, that's what it was. Anyway, this is what this reminds me of, that all these kitties are peeking out. They're about to answer the question from the contestant. While that glue's setting, I'm going to flip back to the inside of the card. We're going to glue down the colored pattern paper as a backdrop, because most people don't have a white gel pen to write on the inside of a black cardstock. And I figured, well, this is still light enough that you could actually use some kind of ballpoint or other pen on it, heck, even a Sharpie, right? Although, as well, we do have the white oval, too, to put in. And I thought, okay, I'm going to accent the edges just a wee bit. So I'm tapping off the black soot oxide ink onto my glass mat and then just bringing it over just to the edge. You can still see the Distress Sprit Spray underneath it. We're going to set this down into place, and there's even enough there that you could just write a quick hi if you've got like really teeny writing, like some of us do. So there we are. That one is set. Oh, this is where I got out the old sewing machine and tried sewing the front panel again.
Oh, that's definitely something new.
All right. I'm like, oh, I still got extra kitty tails left over. I'm just going to tuck one in underneath on the inside of the card that he's hiding behind that panel. So the front one is dry now. I'm bringing out the Big Mama foam tape. We're cutting it down to size. I always use a little bit of glue. I've had old foam that has released off after it's been sitting for a couple of years. I just don't trust it. So even the Big Mama, I give it a little bit of a spritz with some glue. As you can see, I'll be doing that here on this side as well too before I actually glue it down to the panel. If you put a lot down, it gives you more wiggle room when you are trying to set the panel in place. I have decided that today, just in the ease of filming this properly without having my head showing, I'm just going to cut out that part, and there she is. She's glued down. So Jennifer McGuire taught us this trick, that if you use a piece of no-tack tape or like a sticky note and use it to highlight where you want the edge is when you're cutting in your guillotine trimmer, it actually works quite well in cutting out the sentiments. And these are the SimonSaysStamp. They are the Reverse Lucky ones. I just thought it would be kind of cute that both the inside sentiment and now this one on the front mention both cats, black cats, and luck. I tried the larger one. It kind of overwhelmed the front, so I went back to the small one. So that basically is our minimalist card for this week. You better believe I fought the urge to put a whole bunch of bling 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 on the front. It's like, don't do it. You all get out there, have some fun, be that change you want to see in the world, and we'll see you next time, okay? Bye-bye.